Hello, it's Cheryl from Symmetry Pilates Center. Today I am going to be doing a Pilates workout that I'm labeling Pilates for runners. So obviously you don't have to run in order to do this workout, but we are going to be focusing on some standing stuff, getting into the hip strength and mobility as well as core. So that's why it's more geared to runners. So I could also name it butts and guts, but I think I'm going to stick with Pilates for runners. During the workout, I'm going to be using a loop band. Okay, you don't need to have the loop band when you're doing the workout. It just increases the challenge to certain exercises, activates the muscles a little bit more. But like I said, you can do every exercise without the loop band. So we are going to start without it and just get some mobility work in. Starting with your feet about hip distance apart, we're going to start with a side bend. So I want you to just breathe in. Reach one arm up, and as you exhale, I want you to side bend, allowing your hips to shift one direction as you side bend in the other direction. You're trying to get a nice length through your side. You're gonna inhale to bring your arm up, come to vertical, and then bring your arm down. So breathing in, exhale, going the other way. So trying to keep the body square to the front, not allowing rotation. Inhale, you're gonna stack up, and then back down. A couple more, breathing in. Again, allowing those hips to sway so we get this nice length on the side. Inhale to come back up, and exhale, bring the arm down. One more time, breathing in. Exhale to side bend over. Inhale to come back up and down. Now we're gonna just add a little rotation. So you're gonna just start the same way. Bring your arm up, side bend, and then think about squaring your shoulders to the floor. So allowing your knees to bend, getting a nice length through the back. You're gonna come back to that side, lengthen up, and then come down. Breathing in. Again, get that nice length on your side first. Then think about pulling the rib cage around, squaring your shoulders up, letting your head drop. Come back to your side, lengthen up and down. So this is just some good mobility, a nice stretch as you side bend, and then create that rotation. Let the knees soften. Come back to your side, lengthen up and down. One more time, breathing in. Side bend over, allowing your spine to round as you square the shoulders up. Coming back to your side, lengthening up and down. Now we're just gonna do a roll down. So I'm just gonna face the side. Starting with your head, you're just gonna think about dropping your chin, softening through your chest, and just allowing your spine to round forward. Bring your hands towards the floor. Obviously, they don't have to touch. Breathe in to stay. Just let your head be heavy. Feel the length through your back line. And then as you exhale, just roll back up like you're stacking your spine back up an imaginary wall behind you. You're gonna breathe in, think tall. Again, as you exhale, soften through the chest. Think about, again, peeling that spine out off of that imaginary wall, allowing your arms and your head to just hang, breathing in to stay, and then exhale, coming all the way back up, stacking your spine vertically. Let's do that one more time. Breathing in and exhale, rounding forward, all the way, feeling the stretch through your back, through those hamstrings, breathing in. And then exhale, again, just trying to stack the spine back on top of itself. Moving into some foot mobility. So standing on, I'm gonna stand on my left leg, and I'm gonna reach my right foot behind me. Okay, so I'm thinking about resting on like my big toe, baby toe. Okay, so from the side, it just looks like this. I'm just gonna try to let that foot relax. So you might feel a stretch through the top of your foot. From here, just hold on to that. Just let that leg relax. So you're just gonna bend and extend the opposite knee for about 5. So we're just trying to like gap the front of the foot, right? Kind of open up through all those joints. So now from here, instead of like thinking about that first and second toe, I want you to think about resting on like your second and third toe. So again, just getting a little bit different stretch. And same thing, you're just gonna bend and extend the knee. Again, we're just trying to stretch through the top of the foot. We always think about stretching the calf, but we never really stretch the top of that foot. So now you're gonna be moving that foot in and think about resting on that 4th and 5th toe. Again, just trying to let that foot relax. You might feel more of a stretch in one area of your foot than the other area. Sometimes things are tighter in one section versus the other, okay? So now from here, I want you to reach that right foot forward, and we're gonna think about moving through the ankle. or that heel specifically. So thinking about the underneath those ankle bones, and I just want you to think about rolling that heel inward, right? So the bottom of my heel is I'm thinking about rolling it towards my center to open through the side of that heel. So just getting a little bit of mobility through that rear foot and also getting some mobility through that front foot. And now you're gonna go the opposite direction. So think about kind of pronating, flattening that arch a little bit, but think about gapping that space underneath that inside ankle bone, right? So just kind of rolling in a little bit, again, getting just some easy foot mobility. So now we're going to switch to the other side. So again, starting now, I have my left foot back. I'm going to start resting on my big toe my big toe, second toe. And again, just bending, extending that stance, like just to open up through the top of that foot. Now we're going to go second and third toe. So I just move my foot a little bit. Again, bending and extending the stabilizing leg. And again, one foot might feel a little bit more tight, a little bit less tight, okay? And now, again, bending and extending, thinking about that fourth and fifth toe. And then we're gonna move into the heel. So now I have that left foot forward. Again, I'm thinking of the space underneath those ankle bones. So let's start on the outside one. So as I move, I'm thinking about the bottom of my heel going inward and my foot kind of pulling upward a little bit to get that little movement through that heel bone, okay? And now again, we're gonna go the other side. So think about that inside ankle and again, kind of flattening that arch, kind of that's the movement, but we wanna feel the mobility through that heel as well, that gapping of the joint, you could say, okay? Now we're just gonna go into some hip mobility and strength exercises. So we're just gonna do a back lunge, but we're gonna add a knee up, okay? So from the side, you wanna keep your spine long and we're just trying to get that thigh parallel to the ground. And as you come up, I want you to pull the knee up into flexion, okay? And think about dorsiflexing or pulling the toes up to get into those shin muscles, okay? So we're gonna do 5 on one side, and then we're gonna add a heel lift, okay? So think about your runner's arm. You're gonna come back down and then pull up and balance. Step back, come up and balance, all right? Folding at the hip again, trying to keep that spine nice and long, pulling up. One more like that, and now we're gonna add plantar flexion. So we're gonna add a heel lift on that stance leg. So you're gonna come down and you're gonna lift. Try to balance a little bit at the top, right? Getting into that triple extension, right? Hip, knee, and ankle extension. Lift and balance. Couple more. And up. One more time. And up. Good. So now, other side. So starting keeping the heel down, right? Think about those runner's arms, opposite movement. Pull up. Folding at the hip. Trying to get that thigh as parallel to the ground as you can. Trying to keep that spine long, not rounding your spine, right? We want to keep it nice and straight. Adding that heel lift. So again, down and up. You might find that one side's a little bit easier than the other. Maybe you have more balance on one side, right? Like that. So think about trying to hold the balance at the top. Let's do a couple more. And up, down, and up. There we go. Finally got it. All right, now we're just gonna add a cross back lunge. So we're gonna think about the lateral hip a little bit more. So as you lunge, think about bringing one knee towards your outside ankle, getting maybe a little stretch through that outer hip, and then come up with a knee. Crossing it back, come up with a knee. Keeping the spine long and up. Couple more, and then we're gonna add that heel lift. Let's add the heel lift. Drop it back, come up, try to balance. Drop it back. Think about folding at your big toe as you come up. Back and up. Couple more. Drop it back, balance. Last time. And up. Other side. So now again, dropping it back. Think about that knee going to the outside ankle. Come up, pulling your toes up. Folding at the hip and up. Alternating the arm movement with the leg. Down and up. One more time. And up. So now we're gonna add that heel lift, triple extension. Drop it down, try to stick it. Drop it down and balance. Drop it down, find a focal point, which will help, and up. Couple more, up. Last one, up. There we go. All right, so now I'm gonna continue our warm up a little bit more, but I'm gonna grab that loop band. Again, you don't need it, but I'm gonna put it just above my knee joints. Okay, and all this is doing is helping just to activate my hip abductors just a little bit. All right, so feet are about hip distance apart, and again, we're gonna continue to work the mobility of the feet and ankles. So I want you to come into a little mini squat, right? Spine stays long. When you're in that squat, you wanna feel centered through your foot. I don't want you to feel like you have more weight in your heel or your toes. So you're just doing a little squat. Stay in the squat. You're gonna lift the heels up. Try to keep the heels lifted. Lengthen the legs and then lower down. Bend the knees. Lift the heels. Lengthen and lower down. A few more. Bend the knees. Lift the heels. Lengthen and lower down. Again, bend. Think about, again, folding at the big toe, right? Trying not to rotate outward. You want to think about keeping a line from your shin to your foot. Couple more. Bend, lift. That big toe mobility is really important. Running, walking, and release down. So now we're just going to reverse the pattern. So you're going to squat first, lift the heels, lengthen. I think that's what we just did, right? So let's now reverse the pattern. So we're gonna lift, bend the knees, lower the heels down, and then lengthen. So you're gonna lift the heels up, bend the knees, lower, and lengthen. One more like that. Lift, bend, lower, and lengthen. So now we're gonna go into standing bend and stretch. So we're thinking about the stance leg is the one that's going to be doing a lot of work, just holding your body still, but we want to think about the extension of the gesture leg, the moving leg. So you're going to come into a little squat here, okay? Trying to keep those thighs parallel to each other. Now from here, think about shifting. I'm going to shift to my left. So think about shifting like 99% of your body weight onto your left leg, and we're going to extend the right leg, just tapping that leg down. Think about extending this knee all the way, and then you're gonna come back. So again, you're gonna extend the leg and back. Again, 99% of my weight is on that left leg, so I'm free to extend the leg and then bend the leg. The big important thing here is to really draw up on the thigh so that hip extends all the way. Right, I don't want to keep that knee bent. I really want to think about drawing up on the thigh. Couple more. Now let's keep it here. All right, my body again is kind of centered over that left foot, keeping my core engaged, my spine stays long, and I'm just going to lift this leg up. So keeping, again, the leg straight, I think about pressing my thigh into that band, drawing up on my kneecap to keep the leg long. The leg doesn't have to go high, but I do want it to stay straight. So we're working in that hip extension. Couple more. You should feel that left leg, that stance leg heating up a little bit. So now hold the leg down and just reach your arms up. So now we're going to get into some postural muscles, right? Just try to keep your arms reaching in a nice wide view overhead, and now again, add that leg. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. So just keep breathing, right? We don't want to hold our breath. Inhales flow into exhales in Pilates. Remember, keeping that leg long. Again, it doesn't have to be high, but I do want it straight. Last one, come back and then release. Shake it out. Again, that left hip, that stance leg should be feeling a lot of that work. So now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. This time I'm gonna face forward. So I'm gonna come into my little mini squat here, shift my weight over to my right leg now, and I'm gonna do that bend and extend. So I'm gonna extend the leg, tap it back, and then forth. Extend it back and forth. So again, drawing up on that thigh to get into that full hip extension, keeping that core engaged. And again, working that balance, strength, and endurance of the stance leg. Let's do about 4 more. Again, keep breathing. Couple more. This time we're gonna keep that leg long, okay? And again, now from here, you're gonna lift and tap. Remember, it doesn't have to be high to be effective. Exhale, lift and tap. Try to keep everything square to the front. We're not adding rotation here. You wanna try to keep that pelvis square. And again, you should start feeling a little workload through that right hip. Couple more. Now from here, I just want you to reach your arms up, and again, you're gonna lift. So now working those postural muscles, keeping that leg straight. Again, if you have the band on, think about pushing that thigh into the band to lift it up. And again, it doesn't have to be high to be effective, right? Keep the knees straight. Couple more. And then come back. Whew. All right, so now going back to the left leg, we're gonna do a standing clamshell. So standing on my left leg, I'm gonna hook my right foot behind my left knee, and my right thigh is gonna start facing forward. I'm gonna keep my hips square to the front. I'm just gonna rotate out and back. So again, now we're working the deep hip rotators just in a standing position, but we're also working the endurance of that stance leg. Try to keep, again, the spine nice and long, trying to keep the hips level as you just rotate. So I really have my foot hooked behind my leg, and I'm using it kind of like as a pivot point as I rotate out and back. Let's just do a couple more. One more time. All right, shake it out. So now we're gonna stand on the right leg. The left foot is hooked behind that right leg. And again, I'm just gonna rotate out and back. You don't have to force the end range, right? So you just wanna feel how that hip is rotating smoothly in the socket, right? Again, we're getting into those deep hip rotators here, but we're trying to keep the pelvis square to allow that hip to move, right? And again, working that stance leg, that endurance of it. Couple more. Last one. And now we're gonna go into the standing 100. So let's start standing on the left leg. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the pattern first, and then we're gonna do the full exercise. So again, starting with your feet about hip distance apart, you're gonna bend your knee up and you're gonna pulse your arms back. So we're gonna inhale for a count of 5, and then you're gonna fold at your hip and exhale for a count of 5, and then we're gonna come back up. So we're working on this, let me just turn it this way, this pivoting, again, of the hip, but keeping the spine long, right? I don't want you to round your spine. So it doesn't have to be high. Again, that back leg doesn't have to be high, but I do want it to be long, okay? I want you to think about that full extension of the back leg. All right, so I'm gonna start facing sideways, standing on your left leg. You're gonna inhale for 5, bend the knee up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale, reach for 5. Breathing in through your nose, and exhale through your mouth as you extend. So your body's kind of tipping over. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reach it back, 2, 3. 2 more times on this leg. Breathing in and out. One more time. Breathe in, keeping those arms nice and long, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're gonna go to the other side. So I'm standing on my right leg, left leg's gonna come up. So bend the knee up, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and bend and extend, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, keeping the spine nice and long, feeling how that torso is pivoting over the hip. And reach it long. Remember, it doesn't have to be high, but I do want that leg straight. And reach. Let's do one more. Bend, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reach, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so now we're gonna be going on to our hands and knees. So we're gonna go into what's called swimming prep. So we're gonna bring the band down and put it around your feet, all right? So in this hands and knees position, this quadruped position, hands are underneath the shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips, and your spine is nice and long. Toes are curled under, and so the feet and the thighs are about hip distance apart, again, just to keep the band taut, right? I don't want it to slip off your feet. For the upper body, I want you to think about really spreading your fingers out and pressing your body away from your hands, okay? So you feel that the good shoulder girdle stability. You feel like your shoulder blades are kind of hugging the back of your ribs, and you're thinking about keeping your neck reaching long. So I don't want you to sink into the shoulder girdle, okay? Going into hip extension. So trying to keep your torso still, and I'd like you to reach the left leg long, okay? So the foot's on the ground. Now that knee, again, is straight, and you're trying to keep the hips as square to the floor as you can. As you breathe out, think about reaching into the resistance of the band, and then lift up, and then tap it down. So again, hip extension, but we're also working the stability of that knee that's down, of the hip of the knee that's down. Exhale, lift, inhale, tap. Remember, it doesn't have to be high because I want the knee straight, and I also want that torso nice and still. Let's do a few more. Lift and tap. Lift and tap. One more time. So now you're going to hold that leg down. Keep it straight and long. Keep, again, think about reaching into the resistance of the band to keep the energy in that leg. And now we're going to lift the opposite arm. So I have my left leg extended. I'm going to lift my right arm and then tap it down. If you want, with this, if you have like light weights or something, you could use that to challenge the shoulder girdle a little bit more. Sometimes I use like a 2 or 3 pound. It doesn't have to be very heavy in this position for sure, because again, we just want to get into the low trap shoulder as you lift the arm up, and working all those nice postural muscles of the back as well. Couple more. So now I want you to hold that arm up. Keep the torso still, and you're going to lift the leg for 5 and tap. And 4. Here's 3, 2. Hold the leg up. Bring the arm down and lift it up for 5. And 4, 3. Keep reaching into the band. 2 and 1. Now tap the hand down and the foot and lift for 5. And 4, 3, 2 and 1, and then bend the knee. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So sometimes I just like to kind of move my hips side to side, maybe hip hinge back just to release the tension through those hips. All right, same thing, other leg. Keep your hands spread out, press your body away from your hands, and now we're going to extend the opposite leg, okay? Again, keep thinking about reaching into the resistance of the band, and lift up and tap. Lift. So again, I keep thinking about engaging my thigh, right? Drawing up on that kneecap to keep the knee straight, reaching into the resistance of the band, and then lifting it up just to increase the integrity of the entire system. Let's do a few more. Lift and tap, lift. One more time. You're gonna hold that leg down, but keep it long. Okay, now we're gonna lift the left arm and tap. So the opposite arm to leg. So I have my right leg extended, I'm lifting my left arm. Again, one side might seem more coordinated than the other, less challenging than the other, right? That's just kind of pointing out where some of our imbalances may lie. We're gonna do a couple more like this. So now I'd like you to just keep that arm lifted, and we're gonna go back to the leg and lift it up for 5. And 4, 3, 2, one more time, hold the leg up, tap the hand down, and lift for 5. And 4, 3, 2. Now we're going to tap the hand, tap the foot, and lift up 5. And 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then release it all the way. Again, kind of hinge back, sitting towards your heels. You can point your toes, and then we're going to come up, going onto your back. We're going to go now into some core work. So I'm going to keep the band again around my feet. I'm going to lay on your back. So now I want you to imprint your spine. I want you to think about lengthening that low back towards the mat, using the strength of your abdominals and bringing your legs up to a tabletop position. Again, the band's still around your feet, so you can't bring your legs together. They have to be a certain distance apart. Hands are going to come behind your head and just lift head, neck, and shoulders up. So from here, as you exhale, I want you to press one leg long as you pull the other knee towards you. Breathe in, start switching your legs, and exhale, reach. The whole time, trying to keep that torso lifted. Exhale, inhale as your legs switch. Really think about that even and opposite energy. I'm pushing one leg long as I'm pulling the other leg in. Here's 4. And 3. 2 more each side. Last one each side. Now we're going to go into obliques, okay? So now, same thing. You're going to breathe in, same leg pattern. As you exhale, though, I want you to think about rotating towards the bent knee. You're thinking about pulling that knee in, but moving your rib cage to your hip, your opposite hip, not your elbow to your knee, okay? Think about that core here. Come back through center, and then switch. Inhale and exhale. So what I think about is moving, again, my rib cage to my opposite hip or pelvis, keeping that pelvis planted. So I don't want to feel like I'm rolling off of my hips, right? So that pelvic area is nice and solid on the ground as I'm using those obliques to create the rotation around. Last 4 and 3. Here's 2 and 1. All right, so now we're going to move the band and bring it above the knee joint here, okay? So pelvis is going to start neutral, so you get like a little curve in your low back. The band's around the thighs, just above the knee, just to, again, kind of activate the outer thighs a little bit. Arms are going to be by our sides. So from here, we're just going to do what's called the hip roll, keeping your feet planted. As you exhale, use the strength of your abdominals to get your low back towards the mat, and then we're going to be lifting the hips, kind of peeling the spine off the mat. Breathe in to stay. Think about this nice openness through the front of the hips. And as you exhale, just soften through the chest, roll through your low back, and come back to your neutral. Exhale, you're going to roll up, bottom to top, opening through the front of the hips, breathing in to stay, and then exhale, just rolling all the way back down. Couple more. So this should feel nice, right? We're opening up through the hips. We just work those hip flexors, right? So we're trying to open up through those and mobilize through the spine. The last one here. And then you're going to roll all the way down. So now we're going to come back to that same bridge position, but we're just going to get there differently. So instead of rolling like we just did, we're going to try to keep the torso still and just think about opening through the front of the hips and then folding at the hip joint, so not rolling. All right, feeling evenly weighted through your feet, trying to keep the thighs parallel to each other. You're going to breathe in. As you exhale, feel those abdominals kind of wrapping inward to help create that stiffness and stability through the spine. And then just think about opening the hips towards the ceiling. You're going to inhale to stay, same thing. Think length through the front of the hips. And now think about folding at the hips to get that pelvis down first. So you're going to breathe in. Exhale to lift, inhale to stay, and then as you exhale, hinge at the hips to come back down. Couple more like that, and then we're going to add on. Exhale to lift, inhale to stay, and then exhale to lower down. One more time, breathing in, exhale to lift, inhale to stay, and then coming back down. So now we're going to add a leg lift. So you're going to come into that bridge position, exhale, lift. Now we're going to try to keep the torso as still as we can. As you breathe out, you're going to lift one leg up to tabletop, just like a 90-degree angle of your hip and knee, and you're going to place that foot back down so it's hip distance apart. Other leg comes up and back down.
So as I lift my right leg, I'm thinking about drawing up on the abdominals on that right side and pressing through my left hip and then placing that leg down. And now pressing through my right hip as my left leg lifts and then down. One more time each side. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower and stay, and then hinge at the hips to come down. We're going to do that one more time. If you want, you can take away a stability point and lift those arms up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, exhale, lift up. Again, we're trying to keep that torso as still as we can. As you exhale, lift one leg up and place it down. Exhale, lift like you're doing big marches. Exhale and inhale. Just keep breathing. If you're inhaling when I say exhale, that's fine. One more time each side. Breathing in, and then again, hinging at the hips to come back down. So my band kind of rode up a little bit. I'm gonna just bring it back down a little so it's just above my knee joint, and we're gonna come onto your side. Body is gonna be nice and long, so using your bottom arm to cradle your head. Okay, torso is long. I want your hips to be open, so kind of gaze down your body. If you can see your feet kind of sticking out in front, think about moving them back. And keeping your body nice and long, and you're just gonna rotate everything forward, okay, like a log roll, because I want you to get that lateral hip, that glute medius at an advantage, right? Sometimes if we're here, we pull into our stronger muscles and flex, but when we're in this little log roll forward, we kind of have to work that muscle a little bit better. So again, you're in that log roll forward. Think about reaching your leg long, your top leg long. You're gonna lift that top leg up, and you're gonna lower it down. Keeping your toes and knees facing forward. In this position, I think about leading the movement up with my heel just to try to keep my leg parallel, because sometimes there's a strong tendency to turn that leg outward to try to get into the TFL and the hip flexors. So you're really trying to just isolate that abductor, that glute medius as best we can, okay? So lifting and lowering. Gaze is forward. Think about keeping your core engaged. Spine is long. Pivoting at that hip joint as you exhale, lift and lower. Let's do two more. Exhale, lift and lower one more time. From here, we're just going to do little circles. So think about tracing a circle with your big toe. You're going to go forward and up to the ceiling, back, down, and around. Forward and up. Think about opening through that hip as you bring it back and around. Three more. Inhaling and exhaling. Just don't hold your breath. Inhales flow into exhales. Last two. Breathing in and out. One more time. Breathing in. And now we got to reverse the direction. So now you're going to go back and lift it up, around, forward, and down. Inhaling and exhaling. Really think about that extension through the hip, then lift. Extend the leg back and then lift and circle it around. Last two. Inhale and exhale, last time. And we're gonna change sides. So I'm just gonna go on to my other side. You can just turn around if you'd like. All right, again, bottom arm is cradling the head. Hips are stacked, right? You can't see your feet, and now we're gonna do that little log roll forward just to put that glute med at a little bit more of an advantage. As you exhale, again, you're gonna reach that top leg long and then lift it up and down. Again, thinking about leading the movement with your heel, especially if you have like that tightness always in your IT band. You may be working that TFL a little bit too much when we're running. If you're always rolling that IT band, maybe that glute med is not working as well as it could be, right? So we want to make sure when we're doing these types of exercises that we're focusing on the muscle that we want to focus on and not compensating with something else. A few more. Lifting it up and down. Lift up. One more time. So now it's time for those circles. Again, you're going to go forward and up, around, back, and down. Thinking about pivoting at the hip joint. So if you can imagine like a sugar cone, imagine your hip joint being that point of the sugar cone, and your toe is just tracing the rim. One more time. And now let's reverse it, going back and up, around, forward, and down. Back and up, and forward and down. A few more. Last two. And one more time. Nice. All right, so now
we're gonna come up to a sitting position, okay? We're gonna just keep the band right where it is. Okay, again, just because it's gonna help to activate that lateral hip again. If you don't have the band, not a big deal. I do want you to sit up nice and tall though, okay? So if you have tightness of your hamstrings, if you have like a yoga block you can sit up on, you could do this on like an ottoman or something, or you could just kind of bend your knees. Because I do want the spine to start long, because we're just gonna be adding rotation. So if you're here, we've already taken movement up in flexion, and we're not gonna be able to get as much rotation as we could as if we started with that spine nice and long. All right, so I'm just gonna start and stay this way. Again, spine is long, feet are flexed, arms are reaching out to the side, but you have your hands just a little bit in front of you. So not way out to the side, like a little in front of your torso. And I just want you to think about keeping them there. All right, so you're gonna breathe in, think tall, and as you exhale, bend the back elbow. So I'm rotating to my right. I'm gonna bend the back elbow and think about spiraling my spine up and around for 3. I release a little bit, try to go a little further, 2 and 1, and then I'm gonna come back to center. Exhale, I'm gonna bend the back elbow. Think about gliding that shoulder blade towards your spine as you rotate, and then lengthen. Think about, again, staying evenly weighted on those sit bones, keeping the spine nice and long. And again, if you need to, just bend those knees. Think about your rib cage rotating up and around your pelvis. Breathing into center. Exhale, rotate 3. Try to go a little further, 2. Keep lengthening through the spine in 1. And back to center. Exhale, 3. Exhale, 2 and 1. One more time each side. As you bend the elbow, think about reaching it away from that hand, right? Think about like a bow and arrow, right? One thing's pushing one way, the other thing's pulling the other way, right? That push and pull to keep the energy long, okay? Now we're gonna go into a half roll back with some hip flexion. Taking the band, you're gonna be putting the band again around your feet, and we're just gonna keep the feet put for now, okay? So starting again, right on top of those sit bones, and I want you to just round yourself up and over your thighs. So from here, keep your spine rounded. As you exhale, you're gonna roll back like you're trying to reach the tag of your pants towards the mat below you, but you're keeping your spine round, and then you're gonna come back on top of those sit bones. So exhale, roll back. So my spine is always rounded as I roll back and as I roll forward. Exhale and inhale, keeping that rib to hip connection. Last time like this, and return. So now you're gonna exhale, roll back like you just did. Stay here, breathe in. Now as you exhale, you're gonna pull one knee towards you, keeping the shape of your spine, keep it that round shape. Exhale, pull the other leg towards you, place that foot down. Now round forward. We're gonna start with the other leg. Exhale to roll back. Breathe in, exhale, pull one leg towards you, keep the shoulder girdle calm. Exhale, pull the other leg, place it back, and then you're gonna round forward. Exhale to roll back. Breathe in, pull up as you breathe out, and down. Exhale as you pull, inhale as you come down, and then round forward. So now we're gonna bring the leg with us, okay? So we just isolated that hip movement. Now we're gonna integrate it. As you exhale, roll back and bring one leg with you, and then place it back down as you come back over. Exhale, bring the other leg with you, keeping the spine round, and then coming back. Exhale and inhale. Exhale to roll back as you bring the leg up. Inhale to come back, keeping your spine around as you exhale, pull, and inhale, return. One more time. Exhale and inhale, and then lengthen all the way back up. Going into now the roll up. So let's just put the band, again, just above the knees. You're gonna lay on your back. So the hips or the legs are about hip distance apart or so. Toes are facing towards the ceiling. And I'm gonna reach my arms overhead, kind of like by my ears. So this is my start and end position. I'm gonna inhale, bring my arms up towards the ceiling. As I exhale, lift your head. You're gonna roll all the way up and over your thighs, right? So now I'm like on top of my sit bones and my spine is rounded over my thighs.
Gonna inhale to start rolling back. I think about reaching through my heels, getting through my low back as I come all the way back down. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, I nod my chin, peel the spine off the mat, rolling up and over my thighs. Inhale, I start rolling back. Think about getting through your low back and then restoring that little curve in your back as you come back to the mat. Inhale, exhale, rolling up sequentially with control, right? It's nice and slow. We don't want to use momentum as we're rolling up and down. We really want to think about using the strength of that core. Helps to, one, obviously strengthen the abdominals, but also helps to mobilize through the spine. We're gonna do one more like this. Breathing in, exhale, rolling up. Inhale to start rolling back, and then exhale, roll all the way back down. Keeping the band where it is, you're gonna go back onto your hands and knees for leg pull front prep. Thighs are again about parallel, hip distance apart. Same thing with the upper body. You want to think about spreading your fingers apart, pressing your body away from your hands, and our spine is going to stay nice and long. Toes are curled under. From here, I want you to breathe in. As you breathe out, keep the spine long and just lift your knees to a little bit of a hover, really feeling that stretch through your big toe if you're tight. Breathe in and then exhale, we're coming down. Inhale to stay. Exhale to lift up. Try not to lock out those elbows, trying to keep them lengthened but soft. Breathe in, and then exhale, lower down. Inhale. Exhale to lift. Inhale to stay, and then exhale, lower down. Breathing in. Exhale to lift up. Inhale to stay, and then coming back down. So now we're going to do a hip extension in this position, all right? Knees are going to stay down for the first 5. Keeping the spine long, I'm going to start with my left leg. The knee's going to stay bent. I'm just going to think about extending my hip and then coming back. Exhale, lift up, and then tap it down. Exhale, lift, and tap 2 more. Exhale, and inhale last time. Exhale, and inhale. So now we're going to stick with the same leg, but we're going to go into that little hover. So you're going to breathe in, exhale to lift the knees to a little bit of a hover. Keep the spine long and lift the leg for 5 and 4. Trying to keep the hips square to the front. 3, not locking out your elbows. 2 and 1. Bring the foot down and then lower the knees. Moving to the other side. So keeping the knees down for the first 5. Spine stays long. You're just going to lift the hip and then tap it down. Exhale, lift and tap. Remember, it doesn't have to be super high, right? Because I do want that spine to stay straight. Let's try 2 more. Exhale to lift and bring it down. One more time, lift and down. So now going into that hover position, you're gonna breathe in, exhale to lift up, inhale, exhale, extend for 5 and tap. Again, spine stays long, shoulder girdle is stable. Couple more, exhale and tap. One more time, tap it down, breathe in to stay, and then lower down. Taking a seat, let's just, we can take the band off for now. Okay, I think we're gonna be done with it. And we're gonna go into what's called saw. So we did spine twist, right? Which was just this rotation. So just rotation around a vertical axis. Now we're gonna rotate and flex. All right, so same thing, same position. If you have to have your knees bent to keep your spine nice and long, please do so, or sit up on a yoga block, an ottoman. All right, spine's gonna be long. Palms are facing down. Again, arms are a little in front of your torso, okay? We're gonna keep the pelvis planted. You're gonna inhale to rotate. And now as you exhale, you're gonna flex up and over your thigh. So in this position, my backhand, my thumb is turned down towards the floor, and I'm trying to square my shoulders to the floor and keep even weight on my sit bones, on my pelvis. I'm gonna inhale to stack the spine, I'm still rotated, and then I'm gonna come back to center. You're gonna inhale to rotate, think about that rib cage going up and around your pelvis, then you're gonna flex up and over, trying to square the shoulders to the floor. Inhale to stack up, and then back to center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale to flex. Inhale to lengthen, and then back to center. Inhale. Again, this is just some good spinal mobility. You might start feeling a little bit of a stretch through those hamstrings, right? But our focus is really on just getting that spinal rotation combined with some flexion. One more time. Rotate and flex. Come back up and release. All right. Going into swan dive. So now we're going to be working the whole back line, the upper back, hips, hamstrings. So on your stomach, hands are like about midway between your shoulders and your ears, and just make sure your hands are wide enough to accommodate the width of your shoulder girdle. So if you are on like a yoga mat, your hands may be outside the confines of that mat, okay? Legs are long and they're turned outward. My forearms are gonna start down and my nose is just kind of brushing the mat. So first we're just gonna go into some spinal extension. So breathing in, as you exhale, lift through the crown of your head. Hands are gonna stay down, but think about lifting through your back first and then pressing through your hands to come into that full spinal extension. Breathe in, stay here. And then as you exhale, bend your elbows, your forearms come back down, and then you lengthen all the way back down. Inhale, think about opening up through the shoulders. So your shoulder blades just kind of glide towards your spine a little bit. And then exhale, lengthen through the crown of your head. Feel those upper back muscles lifting you. And then you have to press through your hands, but keep that shoulder girdle stability. Don't let your shoulders hike up towards your ears, right? Really think about getting into those lats. Breathe in. And then exhale, we're coming back down. Let's do 2 more like that. So you're gonna inhale, open through the shoulders, exhale, lift the upper back, and then press through your hands to lift up into that full extension. Inhale, and then we're coming back down. 1 more like that, and then we're gonna add on. Inhale. Exhale to lift out and up, breathing in, and then coming back down. So now we're gonna start up and do what's called a slow rock. So moving into that top position, you're gonna breathe and open through your shoulders, exhale to lift. So now you wanna try to keep your spine extended like it's the bottom of a rocking horse, right? Because as you exhale, you're gonna bend the elbows and lift one leg. So now my forearms are down, but my chest is still lifted. This is that rocking horse, the bottom of the rocking horse I was talking about. And then you're gonna lift up, that leg's gonna go down. Bend the elbows, keep the upper back extended as you lift the other leg, and then place it down as you rock back up. Exhale, inhale, right? So trying to, again, keep the spine in that extension. It's rocking forward and back just because your elbows are flexing and extending. We're gonna do 1 more each side. Exhale, inhale, exhale, breathe in, and now just bend the elbows and come all the way down, legs stay down, bring them together, and just push yourself back into a little shell stretch. So rounding yourself up and over your thighs, just to release that back and the hips a bit. And then you're gonna come all the way up and we're gonna go into some push-ups. So we're gonna start standing and think about articulating out to that plank position. So starting at the end of your mat, if you're on a mat, I'm gonna roll down, kind of like what we did in the beginning. Hands come to the floor, and you're gonna walk your hands forward for a count of 4. And as you do so, I want you to think about lengthening your spine bottom to top to get into that nice solid plank position. So we're gonna do 1 push-up. You're gonna bend the elbows for 3 as you go down. So it's gonna be 3, 2, 1, push up. 1 more time like that, and then we're gonna add on. Bend 3, 2, 1, push up. From here, you're gonna rotate to a side plank. So now my feet are staggered, and I'm gonna come back to my plank position and do a push-up. 3, 2, 1, press up, come back to my other side. Now again, my feet are staggered. Come back to my plank, and I'm gonna bend my elbows. Inhale, 3, 2, 1, press up. Now I'm gonna go back to my side plank, but this time I'm gonna stack my feet. So it's a little bit more challenging. Now from here, lift that top leg up for 5. Again, keep toes and knees facing forward. 4, 3, here's 2, and 1. Come back to your plank, do a push-up. Inhale, bend the elbows. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, press up, come to your other side. Again, stack the feet and lift that top leg. 5, and 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back to your plank. One more push-up. Bend 3, 2, 1. Press up. Then you're gonna round your spine, walk your hands back to your feet, and then you're gonna roll all the way back up. And we're gonna go back to that side bend. We're just gonna cool down. Just like we started in the beginning, feet are hip distance apart. I want you to bring one arm up. You're gonna let your hips sway as you side bend to the other direction. Come back up and down. Breathing in, exhale, inhale, and exhale. One more time each side like that, and then we're gonna add that rotation, okay? Last time, again, try to keep your body square to the front, not adding flexion or rotation just yet. Now we're gonna add it. Breathing in, you're gonna side bend first, and again, allow your knees to bend, let your spine flex. You're gonna come back to your side, lengthen up and down. Breathing in, exhale to side bend, and then scoop and rotate. Come back to your side, lengthen up and down. One more time each side. Breathing in, side bend and flex and rotate. Come back to your side, lengthen up and down. One more time. Side bend and flex and rotate. Come back to your side, lengthen up, going into that roll down. So breathe in, think tall. Exhale, soften to the chest, round forward. Let those hands just come to the floor. Breathe in to stay. And then exhale, roll all the way back up. One more time, breathe in, exhale. Inhale, and then exhale, roll all the way up. Take a breath in, reach your arms overhead, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed my Pilates for Runners workout. Thanks for joining me.